Alright, so I received the FLA file, and I'm getting ready to take a look at this file here. Now, in the previous video, I made some observations about the alignment issues that are in this character. Also, the different proportions that are not exactly carried across consistently throughout all the different angles. So let's see if we can fix that. Now, I'm not going to try to realign all these stuff because I simply don't know if all the naming conventions and everything has been followed properly. It does seem like it has been. So like the head nut, the face pivot, there's the neck. So all of these, they seem okay. So as far as naming conventions, I can't tell whether or not it's been improperly done, because for all intents and purposes, it does seem like everything has been named properly and has been applied correctly. So what I'm going to do, rather than try to fix all these things by nudging them around, I'm just going to recreate them from scratch. So I'm just going to delete all these pivot points real quick. Now, I did talk earlier about the positioning of the legs. Those legs are a little off. So the legs need to be straight down. Crazy Talk will add whatever perspective you need to have in there once it creates the 3D skeletal structure. Okay, let's see, make sure there's no hidden pivots in there. So this is probably going to take a little while. I'm going to pause the recording while I go ahead and delete all these pivot points, just to make the video not so long. Okay, so I've deleted all the pivot points. I do notice that these eyes need to have that little white part in them, so I'm going to try to go in here and add it. See if I can do that. The way that it's been created, I'm not sure what the creation process was. So just to keep things simple, I'm gonna fill in the face with white, and there we go. Not sure what's going on in there. I'm just going to put it in here. Obviously these eyes need to be reworked somehow. Whenever you get around to doing the eyes, you're going to need to make them articulate. Let's see here, I need the paint behind. Should take care of that. Okay, makes me feel a little bit better, but you know, obviously it's not a perfect eye. Now these still have the naming conventions set up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase all the names, Control A everything to select, and I'm going to use the eraser tool, or the eraser function, and now there is no instance names on any of the parts, so it's a clean start. Alright, so looks like you had the right idea by setting up these guidelines here. You established the right height, But as you can see, for example, here's the torso and here's the waistline. You can see that on some places the waistline is above this line. There's above, here's below, there's above right there, and so on. And the torso itself, up here, the top of the torso is not even touching the line. Right there, it goes above it. And so in that one also, you know, it's like way up down there. So the proportions of your character are not completely accurate across all the different angles. So let's see if we can fix that real quick. I don't know what this is going to entail, but well, I mean, this first character is fine. We're going to try to make everything else match to it. See if we could just nudge it up a bit. Okay. Okay. Let's take that neck. Might need to zoom in a little bit. Alright. This needs to go down. This needs to go up. This needs to be nudged down a little bit. Let's see here. So at least it gets the top part of it a little bit more accurate. Alright. So what can we do to fix the bottom? Just, you know, looking a little off. I'm not sure. Maybe I can get away with simply stretching it. That might work. I don't know. Let's see. Let's put a little line right there at the bottom of the shirt. Okay. The torso seems to be fairly aligned. Let's do something about this shorts. Okay, I'm gonna put a line at the top of the shorts right there. Get rid of that one. I'm gonna try to make these shorts align to that section there. That's close enough. Alright, now let's take a look at what the bottom of these shorts look like. Try to make everything align itself to the primary zero pose. This is not too bad. I mean, there you got this perspective issue. You got to try to avoid perspective when you're creating these characters. You got to try to make them as flat as possible. I mean, you're still creating that alternate angle, but without the perspective. Okay, these are fairly okay. Alright. So let's see. Maybe I can get away with nudging this down like this. Okay, now I'm going to use the align panel, Control K. Let's see here, to pull up the alignment panel, and I'm going to see if I could just see what happens when I realign these to the center. That's a little off. Okay, I'm just going to leave it the way it was, and I'll work with that. Yeah, these legs are gonna be all off. So what I'm gonna do for now is I'm gonna leave the legs the way that you had them. Hopefully, Crazy Talk will align them based on the placement of the pivots. But ideally, you want to have those legs straight down. In this case, I'm gonna have to align these going outwards like that, so that when Crazy Talk brings them in, it'll force them down here. So I don't know. That's already something that's pretty wacky. You know what? I can't see that working at all. So, you know, I'm going to definitely go put these back. Let's see. Control Y. Now I'm gonna have to do it manually. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do this the way I had originally thought. Fortunately, these have to be straightened out, otherwise you can't expect them to work properly. That is really odd. Okay, so all of these should be downwards. There's definitely going to be issues with the legs. But I'm just going to mess around with the front ones for now. If there's any issues, then I'll come back and realign these later. These really need to be straight down. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it. It's gonna look weird, but I think that's the only way this thing is gonna really work. Fortunately, that's just the way the art was done. But whenever you're recreating this, keep that in mind, that the legs have to be straight. Take these, just align them like that. Okay. Just 2 more legs. These shorts, the way they were drawn, they do need to be recreated in a way that that perspective is not there. Maybe make this bottom part of the legs of the shorts, make it part of this leg, okay? Instead of having them separated like that. But that goes with the design process, you know. Make sure. I think if I would have done this, I would have drawn this bottom part of the shorts as part of this leg, so I can have the joint right here. But the way that you have it set up, you're gonna have to have the joint right here. Very tricky. So there's definitely some design issues here that you're gonna be facing. Alright, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take all these shoes and I'm going to try to align them so that they're on the same level. Alright, let's use this one. And we'll nudge these up so that they are somewhere right there, maybe. Okay, so the bottom of the shoe, we're going to try to make these shoes the same size as well. So we'll put this on top of that line right there, because I'm trying to make everything consistent with your very first one. So, you know, these have to match. If you hold the Alt key while you're dragging, that's how you end up just dragging one side of it. Bring these to the top. I'm going to do the same thing with these. Let's Control up. We'll do that. Let's see. Alright, that seems a little bit more accurate, or in terms of what it needs. Aside from these shorts, everything else seems okay. Well, not really. The arms are definitely not all the same size. So let's try to fix these arms as best as we can. I'm going to place this right there. What is this? Oh yeah, that's not good. See, this shoulder really needs to be part of this. Alright? That way when this arm moves, this shoulder moves with that arm. So this torso should be by itself, and this this shoulder piece needs to be part of that arm. So yeah, that's a very tricky fix. It doesn't work. You know, there's already perspective issues here. You know, I think a lot of this you're gonna have to go back to the drawing board in order to fix this properly. It's okay. So let's try a different approach. Okay, well, that places the arms around the same level, but you know the joints are not right. I mean, these joints really need to be reworked in the design phase. Yeah. Let's move this out of the way for a minute. So yeah, I guess this you might be able to get away with, but it's a very iffy situation. Yeah, I don't feel comfortable modifying that part too much. Let's see here. That's fairly close. These angles here, they're really wacky. I mean, they're not really representative of the angle that is supposed to be there. So also design phase, you need to take care of that. Yeah. So when I turn this back on, I mean, it just doesn't look natural, you know? But this would be closer to how this character needs to be. And, yeah. Okay. So, for these arms, let's see here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to nudge these over. Oops. I'll make sure I select everything. And this one. Okay, so this one, this one, this one, this one, we're going to rotate it. It could be here or here, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so it places those arms along the same level. Let's do the same thing with this one. Control plus will allow you to zoom in. And let's see. think that gets us one step closer to where we need to be. Alright, let's rig it up. Start with our 0 pose. And we're going to get rid of these guidelines. Right. And start by selecting the head. You don't have a back hair, front hair stuff, so it's just a head or a face. So we'll do the face. Alright, let's go ahead and switch to this. And not going to worry too much about the placement just yet. Now just for my own reference, I'm going to put 180 right here. 180. Okay. Mm. 225. So because the head is not actually the same size all around either, let's see, we're gonna have to get a little creative with the alignment. I'm just gonna select all of these. Now the top part of the head is always at the same, it is consistent, so the pivot point is fairly consistent, so that should be fine. But I am gonna nudge it up just a little higher, right there. That's about good enough. And the face pivot is the place where the face will pivot around the neck. Let me select all of these. And I'm going to use the alignment panel to align all these horizontally. Alright. And I'm going to nudge it up now, so it's nudged around the neck part. That looks about right. Okay. Now let's do the torso. And I'm just going to do one at a time now. So we're going to do the torso, the upper torso. And we're going to do the lower torso. And let's see, the leg, which the legs really should be part of this short, the bottom part of the shorts. Okay, so the next big thing about these legs is that, you know, these have to be aligned. So we're gonna select these, align them towards the middle. I guess best placement possible, because I mean they weren't drawn correctly to begin with, so it's going to be very difficult to make them align artistically exactly the way that you had envisioned. A lot of this just, you know, is part of the design process, but you know, we'll give it one good attempt. Just maybe move this foot. Okay, so ideally this is what your character should be looking like. Let's see if I can get to the neck. So here's the neck. Boom. Now this neck needs to pivot itself around maybe this area here, so we're going to nudge that up a little bit. Alright. And now the other alignment thing, this center line here, these have to be also aligned according to a straight line. So we'll center those out and just kind of place them as best as we can. So we got one line here, one line there, one line right there, and then we have to get another line going from here to here and from here to here. So let's do the upper arm. Boom. Then the forearm, if I can get to it. And the hand. Alright. Now we'll do this one. That one. And that one. Okay. So the way I handle this is I'll place my pivot point in the part of the character where I need that to pivot around. So it's probably going to be like right there. Let's see, I'm just going to move it there. Alright. Then I'm going to take this, put it right there. Now these also have to be aligned. So as best as you can. And I'll take the forearm, the wrist pivot, I'll put it where it needs to be, right there. Try to align these also as best as I can. And if I need to nudge it a little bit that way, maybe that way, we can do that. Okay, so using these two as guides, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer. And I'm going to draw a line from here all the way out here, just so that this line, you know, just kind of connects those two dots right there. Okay, so now that I have that, I'm going to switch to the guide mode. I'm going to take my pivot, I'm going to place it right in the center. And I'm using a different version of Puppet Producer that I haven't released yet, so these will not show up as the traditional pivots that I've been using. So it will be necessary to go back here and do that. I need to move this up along the joints. That looks about right. I'm going to take a line here. I'm going to use that as an outline, as a guideline. And that looks pretty decent. And I'm going to take this pivot and I'm just going to move it outside. Okay, it doesn't have to be immediately right there. I'm going to put it right there. Again, I'm going to use a guide, place it right there, and use this as a way to align it to that X right there. Boom. Alright. So that is a pretty well rigged up character. That's basically how the characters should look like. And let's verify the, there goes right hand 0, there's right hand nud 0 pivot. Whoa, pivot. Oh yeah, nud right there. Okay, that was getting me worried there for a minute. Okay, so that's okay, forearm, upper arm. Alright, all this is good. So now we got to rig up the other angles, and basically the alignment, at least the height and everything, has to match up. Okay, so we're going to do the neck for the 45-degree angle. Boom. And I'm going to take this line here, and I'm going to try to align it as best as I can against that line. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next one. I mean, I can go through all of these one at a time, but as long as I have that line anyways, I might as well just work my way through all the characters, I mean through all the angles. So let's see here, this is my 90-degree. I'm going to place it right there. Boom. Just nudge it up a little bit. Right there. And let's see, I'm gonna write it down because I want to make sure that I'm doing the proper ones. So that's 135. Alright, and we'll do that one. 180. And we'll do that one, the 225. That's why it's good to just write it, make a little note of which angle you have. That way, you know, you have an easier time telling these apart. I'm not too worried about the horizontal, I mean the vertical alignment right now. I'm just trying to get them all aligned against this height, this level here. Alright, 270. Where's my neck? Boom. And my 315 neck. Boom. Because the artwork is not always the same size and everything, you can't rely on just letting Puppet Producer guess the right height and stuff for you. I mean, it tries to approximate where everything should be, but you know, not everybody draws everything the same height, you know, as you can see here. So you gotta keep all that stuff consistent. Now let's work the arms. Actually, I'm gonna keep going on my center line, so I'm gonna focus on the upper torso joint, because that's another major one. So I'm gonna see 0, 45. Alright, I'm going to place it, boom, and I'm not going to worry too much about the alignment right now. Just want to go ahead and go for speed, and I'll come back and align these all at once. Okay. Alright, so now let's go back and select all of these. Hold the shift key while clicking on all of these. It'll select them all at the same time. And I'm going to use the alignment panel. Just align everything towards the center, and then just use the up arrow to align everything back to the little that one line right there. So nice. Okay, so let's go down to the lower torso. 45-degree angle. Boom. Okay, that's my 90-degree angle. I'll go ahead and make a note right there. .135. I almost messed up. Okay. 180. 225. 270. And 315. Boom. Alright, that takes care of all the important center line pivots. I'm going to take this line and align it to my 0 pose. And I'm going to select all of these like I did before. Align them to the center on the horizontal line and place them all at the same level. Okay, this ensures that your skeleton is the right height all around. Okay, so far so good. Now on the horizontal line level, these are all perfectly aligned, so that's all good. On vertical level, not so much. So we're going to take these and use the alignment. Oops, what did I do? Oh, I had all these other ones selected. Make sure you just select these, align them on the center, and just kind of maybe place them right there along the neck. All these should be on top of each other. So these are perfectly aligned right there. And they're perfectly aligned on the horizontal scale too. So that's all good. Alright, so let's do that here. And let's try to center it as best as we can. And let's do the same here. Unfortunately, just because of the way the character is drawn, these don't quite look natural. But you know, this all goes with the character design process, okay? Just gotta design your characters a little bit better so that they're designed to be rigged. A little mixture of technical and artistic abilities there, or yeah, something like that. That's about right. Okay, so that takes care of these primary centerline pivots. Now let's rig up these arms. Alright, let's work on the shoulders. And yeah, like this, the sleeve needs to be part of this upper arm. There should have never been. I mean, unless you have a specific reason. I mean, it's not gonna look natural when you actually rig it up. This sleeve should be part of your forearms. Okay, but that's a different topic altogether, I think. All right. Well, my instinct wants me to select the arm by clicking on that sleeve for some reason. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna go to the 45-degree angle. And I'm going to draw the 0 right there just to have it. We'll go to 45-degree angle. Upper arm. Boom. Upper arm. Boom. Forearm. Hand. Forearm. Hand. Alright. So So now we'll take our guideline right there. We'll take these two, we'll align them at the center and nudge them down until we get to that guideline. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move these pivots so that they are at the place where our arm is supposed to pivot. Now, because the way you draw them, it's really not going to look very natural. I'm warning you up front. I'm going to leave these as is for now. No, we're concerned too much with that part. Let's do this one for 90 degree. And this would be the right arm, so let's see here. Right upper arm, left upper arm, right forearm, left forearm, the right hand, left hand. Okay, now those are set, so I'm still concerned only about this one line here, so let's only work on these. Now ideally you want to place on the 90 degree angle these pivot points right in the middle. So we're gonna do this and then that, and that places those pivot points exactly where they need to be, and we align them against that guideline. We'll do the same thing for this one. We'll go to the 135 view, and this is starting to get a little tricky for me because of the way that you drew this character. I mean, to me these three angles look exactly the same, but you know, you have your reasons for it. You know, this design is subjective, so you know, art is art. Everybody has a different interpretation of how they want their own characters done. So let's see here. This would be my right arm, so this is why the angle changes get a little tricky. So this would be my right arm. All right, I'm just gonna work my way down. Forearm and hand. All right, and this would be my left. And I mean, there's just too much spacing between these two. I mean, it's weird. The design is largely part of the problem. Okay, so where was I? This is my right. This would be my left. Left upper, left forearm, and left hand. Okay. So let's align these, and let's place them at the guideline and just nudge them in at the place where the pivot point should be. Okay, that's close enough. And this is my 180. Alright, so this would be my left, left, and left, and then right, right, and right. Again, with the top two pivots, we're going to align them, and we're going to nudge them into the guideline. That's perfect. And we're going to place them at the spot where the pivot should be. And I'm just kind of guesstimating that position. Let's go and do the 225. Again, this is my left, left. Okay, I hope I haven't messed up anywhere. Left and left. Then the art makes it a little tricky. So that's my right, right, and right. Alright, so again, we're going to align these, make sure they're perfectly aligned. We're going to align them to that guideline. and we're going to nudge them to the spot where the pivot should be. That's close enough. And here we go with the 270, and this is my left arm. Okay, left forearm, left hand. Alright, and we go with the right forearm and right hand. Boom. We're going to do the same thing with this one. This is like direct side view. Remember, we're looking at it orthogonally, so there's no perspective. So we'll try to get rid of that perspective first. So technically these would be at the same exact point, you know. So there's my two pivots right there. And let's do the 315. Alright, so we're going to work with our left upper and left forearm, left hand, and we're going to do the other arm. Boom, boom, and boom. Now you may notice me doing a lot of extra clicking now because the version of Puppet Producer that I'm getting to release, it's version 1.02.7, I believe, and actually, I'm going to be doing away with a lot of the feedback panel because I like to be able to see as I go along what I just did. So it does create an extra click, but I think it helps, you know. It helps you from like messing up. It kind of, you know, protects you. Alright, so align these, place them on the guideline, nudge them to the spot where the pivot should be. So somewhere in there. But because these arms are going to pivot, the problem is because of the way that the character was drawn, this arm is going to pivot around, but this this shoulder, the sleeve, is not going to go anywhere. It's going to just stay floating there while this arm moves around. It's going to look really crazy. So think about that, you know. I am going to send you this FLA template. That way your skeletal system's already built. If you want to go back and reconfigure your artwork to match the skeletal system, you're more than welcome to do that. Otherwise, just follow the video and you'll be able to create your own template. So let's do the forearm pivot now, and I'm going to place it right there. Okay, so now my task is to align the rest of these to this pivot. So let's see here. We're going to do this, align them at the center, move them down to the pivot area, I mean to the guideline area. Alright, and I'm going to leave that right now. I still have a little bit more of alignment to do, but I'm going to leave it like that for now. Let's see here. Let's do that. And the forearm pivot is usually one of the last ones I do as part of the arm, because I usually use the upper arm and the wrist pivot as the guide to where the elbow pivot should go. But in this case, I'm just working my way down. Yeah, so there's really no, as long as the end result is the same. The order in which you do it, I don't think it matters too much. Although, you know, to some people it might help, the order in which you do it. So I guess it's an organizational thing, huh? Alright, so I'm going to leave that line there. I'm going to create a new one. I don't need this one. I'm just going to move this one up. Let's see here. I'm aligning them all to my 0 pose. So let's see here. I'm going to take these. You know what? I don't know why I did all of these one at a time. I could easily just select all of these. Another little time saver there, which I myself tend to forget about. Boom. And then we zoom in on any one of these. Bam. Okay, so they are aligned as horizontally just fine. And let's do the nud. We'll create one more right there. So we'll select all these nuds. Now, as I select these, I'm holding down the shift key on my keyboard. That way I'm selecting all of them at the same time. Then on the alignment panel, click center, and I'm going to zoom in on any one of these, and that's pretty decent. Okay, so now that they're all aligned horizontally, I just got to make sure that we have a good alignment as far as the arm itself is concerned. Okay, and the arm has to match. So again, I'm gonna focus on my wrist. Okay, put the pivot point in the part of my wrist where it belongs, right there. That's about good. I'm gonna do the same thing with these, and all I'm doing is using the left and right arrow keys to nudge these around. Okay, so now we're going to do our little trick with the line. I'm going to go back to this top layer here. I'm going to lock the bottom one. Just get my little line thing and just draw a line from the top one. Whoa, what happened to my wrist? That's not right. Let's nudge this over real quick. I guess there was one I didn't quite get. Unfortunately, this arm is not, the angle of it is kind of weird, because this pivot really should be somewhere in there, but the way it came out, I don't know. Oh well, but I hope you get the idea. So now we're going to take our line tool, and we're going to draw on a new layer, connecting this pivot point to that one. Okay, but I'm going to go all the way through. That way I get a full extension. I'm going to do the same thing with these. I don't know what happened here. I must have done something that threw these off, or I've skipped them without noticing them. Okay. And that's why you lock the bottom layer, so prevent those kind of accidents. Bam. All right. So that gives me a good idea of the placement for these two pivots. All I have to do now is go back and select these pivots and just kind of unlock this layer first and place that pivot along that line, and do the same thing for this one, just way back there. Okay, ideally that's where it needs to be, but I'm pretty sure with the pivots you can cheat. Okay, these are not that important in terms of where they are or how far you place them. The important ones are these three, as far as the skeletal structure. This is going to cause a little bit of conflict there. Alrighty. That's good enough. Again, now it's going to cause conflict, so I'm going to skip it for now. And see if you look at the artwork right there, the way it's drawn, it doesn't lend itself for that bone to go directly in the middle. So this needs to be a little fatter on this side or skinnier on that side. I don't know, but it's not really going right through the middle of the arm. So that's just something else to keep in mind during the design phase. Alright, so let's fix these ones that I said might be causing some conflicts at some point. Okay. So we'll take this, just nudge it over here, boom. Take that one, nudge it over here, bam. Alright, so one quick way to get rid of these things is to use something that's the same color. So I'm just gonna draw this right there like that. Just a line connecting all these green lines. When I double click it, everything that's green should be selected, and I can delete them. Okay, so I'm something is not right about this one. So let's make sure we're drawing on the top layer. Boom. And let's move that one over. Bam. Perfect. So then we double click, delete, and I feel much better about the way that these this upper arm is rigged up now. So now we just gotta focus on the lower part, and that's the legs. So okay, so let's go back to Puppet Producer, and we'll get the upper leg. That's the right. I'll just work my way down. Same thing here. Same thing there. Same thing here. And I'm going to skip this one for now. I'm going to put a little mark there to remind myself that I skipped it. And you know what? I screwed up. I'm looking at the 0 degree. You gotta pay attention to what you're doing, because that's definitely going to cause issues. Alright, let's try it again. Put it on the 45. There we go. Boom. Good thing I caught it in time. That would have created a bit of a headache there when I'm trying to troubleshoot what's going on, why it's not working properly. Something wacky's going on here. Okay, lower torso and thigh, left, shank, 45, and the foot. Much better. All right. So really, all I have to worry about these on the vertical side is that they are also aligned vertically. So we'll do that and try to make a best guess as to where this pivot should be. Now, because your character is not drawn ideally in the ideal fashion, this is like really wacky, because I mean this should be like right here, so the short should be coming down right here, and your leg should be right here, and your foot should be right here. So this is already gonna be like make it look odd, but it's not because of the rigging or the Puppet Producer or the skeletal structure itself. It's the initial artwork, the artwork design itself that is not quite right. But I think that's the best we can do with what we have right now. So let's go ahead and do this one. This one is my 135. And this would be my right leg. See, my natural instinct wants me to click here for the leg, because this is part of the leg ideally, but that's just not the way it's done in this design. So 135, right leg. Work my way down on the right leg. It's the best way to keep yourself from getting confused, which happens a lot because of the way that the 3D aspect of this thing is. Let's work on the left upper, left lower, and left foot. Alright, so we got left, we got right. Right? I think, I don't know. So let's try this again now. So this would be my right leg for my 180. Right leg, this one. Okay. The shank and the foot. Same thing here. Left, left, and left. Okay. So let's see here. 225. And this would be my right side. Just check, yeah, right side. So boom, bam, bingo. Same thing here, this would be my left side. Doom, doom, doom. Because of the way the design is, and notice how the hip area is way up here while the joints for the legs are way down here. You know, ideally these joints should be like right here somewhere so that the legs can move around more freely. Yeah. I'm gonna skip this one for now because, you know, the way that the legs are placed is a little tricky reaching them. So let's see here. This would be my left leg on the 315. Left upper, left shank, and the foot. Then we go for the right, right, and right. Bam. And we try to align these as best as we can. Okay, so now let's do these tricky ones here, and which are not really tricky. I just didn't want to have to deal with all this layering stuff. I'm going to move this out of the way for now, and I'm going to I guess these are my bottom ones, my left side of the 90. So let's go to the 90-degree angle, and let's work on the left leg first. Alright, and I'm going to align these vertically for now. I'll place it right there. That's pretty good. I'm going to do the same thing with this, and this would be my right, make sure, yeah, my right side. So right side, boom, boom, and bam. Okay, we're going to align these vertically. Okay, try to get this in there. And I don't know, depending on the size of the stuff, I mean, this should kind of, yeah, it worked out. I didn't have to do too much horizontal aligning, so that works out pretty good. That was easy. Let's do this one, the 270. Alright, we're going to do the same thing. Okay, so this is my right leg. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, we align these vertically. Place them as best as we can. Do the same thing with this leg. 1, 2, and 3. Align them. Place them as best as we can. And take these back here. That's pretty decent. Okay. I think that might be all of them. You do have hands, so I've got to make sure I can go in here. And these hands, thumb, you have to have something at least called normal first. For your first hand should be the normal hand. So we got to make sure we fix that. Go into the hands panel. Let me switch back here just so I can have it reset. Hands. We're going to have the relaxed hand. Okay, if you're going to use that one for your thumb position, then you go ahead and do that too. But for now, we have to have at least a relaxed hand. Alright, so that is relaxed. Okay, let's go into this one. Relaxed. And because see, this would have made it, if these hands are not configured, then those hands are not going to be, even though the outside of the hand is configured, it's not going to be brought into Crazy Talk. It won't recognize it. It'll look invisible, and you're going to be wondering what happened to my hand. All I'm doing is double clicking the hand to go inside of it. That way I can edit it, apply the relaxed hand pose, go outside by clicking an empty area, selecting the next one, double clicking it, takes me one step inside, just clicking the relaxed button, clicking outside, double clicking the next one, bam. The facial features like the eyes and nose and stuff like that, you also have to do this. I just messed up. Try to Control Z my way out of it. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I can Control Z my way out of it. Let's see, right hand 290 pivot. I'm gonna have to do a little creative. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm gonna go in here. I'll set up that relaxed pose. Go out, but see, you can see I accidentally changed the symbol name. This is my 270. And that's my right hand. Alright, I'll get rid of these pivots and put these back in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that gives me my name back. Okay. Did I do this one? Group? No. So we go back to the hands, make sure it's set to relaxed. And just 2 more hands. Boom. And bam. Okay. I am fairly confident that this is going to work. Obviously your eyes are embedded into the head, so you need to create a separation between your hair and your eyes and your eyebrows, nose, mouth, all that stuff. But for now, we're not going to have technically any facial features because your facial features are already embedded into the character. So let's export it and see what happens. First of all, I'm going to save it, Control S. And then Control Shift Alt S will export the SWF file. We're going to call it Jane_new. And we're going to launch Crazy Talk. caps lock is up. Alright, well, it still works. And we're gonna see what happens. I mean, sometimes it works right off the bat. Other times we'll find out what it is that we need to go back and fix. So we'll see. Oh, it's still loading up. Come on. You can do it. Alright, so we need to load up an actor. Bring in this dummy character. And while the dummy character is selected, we'll go into Character Composer and import the new SWF. Jane underscore, there it is, Jane new. Click open, click OK. And let's see, there's a bit of issues going on here where this character's way back there. Not sure what's going on here. Interesting. Let me see here. 2.1.162. There's no reason why this should be happening. This is interesting. Let me try something else. Let me see, export movie, new test, and save. What happened here? Let's try this again. I'm not sure what's going on. New stuff, new test. Hit open. Close. That it really is weird. Okay, let's close this version of Crazy Talk. I'm gonna try to open up the other one. Maybe there's a bug in Crazy Talk, because that definitely should not be happening. And as far as I can tell, all the rigging has been done properly. So I'm loading up the x86 version of it just to see what happens. Actor, character, dummy. And Character Composer, and load the SWF template, and let's see what happens with the x86 version. Wow, it's still doing it. That's really weird. Unsupported SWF tech, conversion results may vary. Action script 1, left brow. Okay, all of these are fine. Upper torso bottom. What? Okay, face bottom. Oh, okay, for the bottom angle and the top angle. Please go back to the sprite's position. Left brow, left foot top. Okay, that we didn't do a top and bottom one, so there's no reason why that should be an issue. Back here, right foot. What right foot? That's weird. Just the right foot. What does that mean? Left hand. This is interesting. I don't even know which that one belongs to. Maybe this is for the left foot top and right foot top, because it's got that right there. Yeah, that is a weird. This is a bug in CTA. Let's try bringing in a new character. And we'll import. We'll use the female character. Maybe the dummy character's damaged. No, same thing. Okay, so I'm gonna have to stop the video at this point because it looks like CTA has some kind of bug. Maybe it's my computer or something. But I'm gonna have to resume this video tomorrow. One quick test that I do want to do, as long as I have this going on, just to kind of see what's happening or whatever. I'm going to try to load up one of my templates that I know works and see if Crazy Talk is having issues importing that. Okay, so it doesn't look like there's any issues there. Alright, so now I guess we go back and troubleshoot some of these things. I have my phase 0, phase 45, phase 90, all that's fine. I'm gonna double click this face, see if there's anything wacky inside of it. Maybe break this apart. Maybe it just doesn't like all that Illustrator style stuff in there. I don't know. That's the only thing I can kind of think of right now, you know? So we might as well run through the entire procedure there. But there's no reason why this should be an issue. Okay, so I don't know. Let me do one more. Let me do this torso. Control S. Let's see if having done that does anything, at least to the face. It doesn't. Wow, that is weird. That is so crazy weird. And from what it looks like, I mean, the direction of this face, I mean, the 0 degree is showing me parts of the 315. So, I mean, let's go back to the flash template and see what it is about this 315 that is just different. Face 315, go in there, break it apart. Face 315, face 315 pivot, head nut 315 pivot. I have no idea what could be going on here. Let's rearrange these. Maybe rearranging these will help. So alright, so it occurs to me a while back I did run into this issue with Crazy Talk and I had completely forgotten about it. And it's a bug or an issue, I don't know what it is, but it's definitely on Crazy Talk's side and in the way that it reads the data. For some reason, once you get past the 7th angle, if you put anything else in there, you really have to finish your character before it goes back to being normal, because adding the 8th angle for some reason just breaks it. In many cases, you can leave out the 7 angles. I mean, you can leave out one angle and Crazy Talk will duplicate. For example, if I were to leave out the 225, Crazy Talk will, in many cases, not always, just duplicate whatever you have at the 135 angle and give you all primary 8 angles there, and it'll still keep it nice and consistent. But for some reason, once you get to that 8th angle, once you import it into Crazy Talk, things go crazy. And I'm going to show you what I mean. So here I'm going to put test 1. I'm going to call it test 1B. And I'm going to go to Crazy Talk and import my dummy character to use as a base. Go into the character composer. And you're going to notice what happens when I bring in my new SWF template that I just set up. It just looks wacky. Alright? It's wacky. It doesn't work the way you expect it to work. Now, in many cases, this doesn't always work. In many cases, you can get away with going back and removing just one of the angles. Now, I'm not saying this is going to work, but in many cases, it does. It's very random. So let's give this a quick test, just to see what happens. Okay, so notice that by removing one of the angles, my character went back to its place where it's supposed to be. Now, I did get rid of the 225 angle, but as you can see, my 225 angle has been recreated based on whatever my 135 angle was. So there's like a mirror image created there. So I technically ended up with all my 8 angles here. So that seems to work just fine, and it's just a quirky way of working around Crazy Talk. This is an issue that Crazy Talk has in the way it works. Now, once again, I put the angle, I'm going through all my due diligence. I create all my 8 angles and all that stuff, and then you realize what the heck is going on here, Call it D. Once you have all 8 angles, for some reason, everything breaks down. So I'm going to import that new template. Boom. 8 angles, everything breaks, even though everything's configured properly. So what do you do at this point? At this point, you really have no other option than to finish your character. You got 2 more angles left. And if you really don't have any need, I mean, you really do, because when this character moves his hands forward, you will need those arms. So what I would do is, like right now for testing purposes, just recreate something like, okay, this is my head, and just turn that into a symbol, F8, and just replicate it, Okay, so that's my neck. That's going to be my torso. That's going to be my hip region. And then I can do something like this. Okay, for my arms, upper arm, forearm, the hands, and this is just for the sake of getting the work done quickly. So that would be my other arm right there, and ideally you want to put this arm where this joint is, right there, where that joint is, so it aligns itself to that. All this stuff doesn't matter too much as long as it's aligned straight up. Okay. And then we need the legs. Okay, now these legs should be aligned to this top joint. That's how Crazy Talk gets a lot of its measurements for the bone system. So now that I have that, I could just duplicate that. Now obviously you're going to take your time creating your own nice original artwork and stuff. But that seems about right. You know what? I'm just gonna leave it the way it was, the original alignment, because it really just has to align itself to your 0 degree anyways. And alright, so here's what we do now. We'll go to Puppet Producer. We're going to switch to our, because this is going to be our top view and this is our bottom view. So we're just going to, okay, that's my face. Move that to the center. And I can use my alignment panel. Okay. There's my neck. Okay, there's one arm. There's the other part of the arm. There's the hand. We'll do that one real quick. Then we'll do this one. Then we'll do that one. Then it's the upper torso, and the hip region, and the leg, the shank, the foot, this part, and that's the wrong one. I hope I was doing them right here. Yeah. So we'll do this again. The thigh, the shank, the foot, and we're good to go. So now that we have that, I'm gonna take these, and I gotta make sure that that pivot point itself is aligned to the center of the graphics. So we're going to move it down, just nudging it down until it's at the center. That's good enough. Gonna take that one, put it there. I'll just use the alignment panel to center that. I'm gonna do the same thing with this one, and that's good enough. We're gonna do the same thing with the bottom view. Alright, we'll get the head. So we take that, put it as close to the center as possible. Make sure it's there. We're going to go with the neck. And this arm. Oops. That arm. That hand. This one. This one. Oops, gotta make sure something is selected. And that one. Okay, then that one. Then that. Then that. And 3 more pieces. We'll do that piece. Then we'll do this piece. If you just press the space bar afterwards, you can get rid of this thing. And okay, so now we'll select all of these by holding down the shift key as we select. Since I basically duplicated this thing, you know, many times, I know that they're all like the same distance apart, so I can just select all of these, nudge them, and they're all going to be right around the spot where I need them to be. Okay, so now technically I have all my 8 angles. Now obviously when you're doing these on your own, you create your own artwork the way it's supposed to look like. So I'm going to save this as test E, test 1E, or I'm just going to call it final. Keep it simple. We'll go back to Crazy Talk and we'll import that. Now that we have all 10 angles, you know what? There's no reason why it shouldn't work. Okay, there you go. So now Crazy Talk knows exactly what you want. It has all main 8 angles, as well as the top and the bottom. Okay, so now that that's done, we'll run a for the placement, for the positioning. Alright, that adjusts your positions. And you know, because of the way that this character was designed, you know, it was never really meant to work seamlessly to begin with, because the sleeve is not attached to this arm. It's basically, you know, there's a lot of jagged joint areas in terms of the design itself. So there's still a little of reworking that needs to be done in terms of the design itself for the character to be very seamless. But in general, you know, based on the actual rigging and stuff, you know, it's working, yeah. So there's that. So the thing to look at, you know, are these jagged edges. Make sure everything's aligned properly. You know, think about your joints when you're designing these characters. And you know, think about the placement, like these shorts. Look at this. The short, the bottom part of the short should be attached to the upper thigh. That way you get a more natural movement. Because otherwise this just kind of looks like a very static skirt. See? Alright, so that's that. I hope you get some good ideas from that, and hopefully that helps you fix your character. And if you have any other questions, feel free to let me know.